Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanchez, Jim Jonas, another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we have Keaton Peterson. She's going to discuss Cheryl Moss, Clark County Family Court Judge, another failed judgment. So, Jim, do you have anything?
Not really, other than I just want to, hope everybody had a good Christmas. I had a very good Christmas, and thank you to you and Heidi and Faith, and it was nice to get to visit with Rob Lauer again. And so,
Rob Lauer.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He's very knowledgeable. He's very outspoken.
You think?
Yeah, he's a good guy. And just hope everybody has a good New Year's. Yeah. Other than that, really, I don't really have much else.
I always say the new year should be better than the year you're leaving.
Right. Yeah. Well, considering what's went on last year, this current year that we're in,
yeah. But next year should be even better.
Right. Yeah.
Next year we should be like easy flowing, I think. Yeah. I think all the struggles are over, maybe.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, Ms. Peterson, what brings you here today? Tell us a little bit about you. And don't leave anything out.
Oh, my.
Even the unsavory part, we do want to hear everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an open book. I've wanted to, I guess, come on the show and talk about this for a while, but I guess I was a little bit scared and intimidated.
By whom?
To be honest with you, the, family court system, even though I know they're not like gangsters, I just think to myself they're just like these.
They might be.
Okay, well maybe they are. I don't know, but I'm saying I have a past, obviously. You know what I mean? I'm not currently in that past, but it's just I feel like a little guy, and I feel like they're a big guy, and
Tell us about your past.
Well, I guess I grew up here. I'm a local girl. I was born and raised here.
And the reason why I say that, because usually when guests come on the show, people like looking them up, and then they're like, "Hey, they didn't say this."
Oh, you can look me up, and I have, and you're gonna see some stuff, and go right ahead. I mean, I'm an open book with it. There's a high-profile case that was on there, legally that my optometrist mentioned it. Like, so it's known.
Optometrist?
My optometrist, yeah, he had recognized it when it was on TV. It has prevented me from. I'm a licensed medical esthetician, and I had a pretty good career, but I did do some time in prison, and getting out, I thought I would.
Why were you in prison?
Low-level drug trafficking, sales of a controlled substance.
What type?
Mostly like club drugs.
Club drugs?
Yeah.
Ecstasy, Adderall.
I don't know about Adderall,
weed,
but yeah.
Coke?
It was just something that, happened, and it was just a way to just keep surviving when I had lost my job. So I had an addiction. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. That's.
What were you addicted to?
Well, I guess the club scene, the club drugs and stuff like that. But meth, ecstasy, drinking, everything like that. A lot of it stemmed from childhood. The way I grew up, that's just the way it was. And then I ended up, getting married, moving to Connecticut, becoming a mom, and having complete sobriety. It was a very toxic situation, the relationship and whatnot. I thought that being, sober was me being okay, but then the relationship that I was in, I don't.
Are you currently on parole?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't been on any kind of paper for.
How long were you in prison for?
I was in prison for a year.
Which one?
Florence McClure, the women's prison out here. Yeah, okay. I was there.
How was it in there, by the way?
Honestly, it wasn't too bad. I actually, if you look at it like an opportunity to get clean, get your life together.
It's unfortunate people got to go to prison to get clean instead of a detox facility, right?
It is unfortunate, but it really, honestly, there is no getting around it. You will get clean because there's no other way. Like, I don't know. I did hear like there's like drugs in men's prison, but honestly, there wasn't any in the women's prison. I thought that was like a little bizarre that there wasn't. But I think women just maybe are built differently. They're just the shame and.
They are built
in my
differently.
experience there, honestly, was not bad. It was if anything, helpful. It helped me. I got structure. I mean, I had a job in the kitchen. I mean, it was mostly sad. You know what I mean? Like, it broke my heart. But it got me like kind of prepared. It straightened me out a little bit, you know, but I kept out of all the crap and all the stuff, and I really tried to work on myself. And when I got out, I anticipated that I would do amazing, and I thought that I would get back into medical aesthetics, you know what I mean? So the thing I was the most excited about, other than obviously being reunited with my children.
Are you currently employed now?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I do modeling, and I do a risque model. I do nude modeling,
Okay.
and that is still a job.
It still is.
And the reason I don't do the aesthetics is because they don't hire felons. It's just I was in management as an esthetician, and when I did all the hiring, we never hired felons. It's just I was able to at some point.
How many felonies you got? Just the one?
No, I have 3. I have 3.
You have
I got
3
2.
conviction felonies?
I got 2 when I got in trouble. I was actually indicted, and I got 2 that I went to prison for. I got out of prison. I was on parole, completed parole, was doing really, really good.
What's all the 3 for? The same thing?
And then I got in trouble again. Got
For
another
the same thing?
Same thing. But instead of putting me in prison, they put me in a program, a Christian recovery program, which I successfully completed. Never had any kind of treatment. The judge was going to put me back in prison, and she actually.
Who was the judge, by the way?
It was Walsh, and she's amazing.
Oh.
She's amazing.
Jackie Walsh.
She overturned me because I had already signed to go back, and she was just like, "Have you ever like had a rehab or anything like that?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Well, maybe you should do that this time instead of prison." I was like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
And the DA guy was like really mad and stuff, and I was just like,
Yeah, because they want convictions.
Right. And she was like, I was like, I guess I'd be open to that. And she's like, you know, it was faith-based, and, you know, she was a believer and stuff like that. And honestly, in all actuality, all the things, I mean, I've been in trouble, you know, here and there. I've done something, I mean, I've been reprimanded, I guess you could say, a lot. But going to that program, experiencing the other girls coming in from the streets, being a big sister, and showing love instead of, you know, discipline, always discipline, you know, to actually just love on each other and to be in that environment. Like, we couldn't like listen to anything. It was, can I say the home that it was? Sure. Because I would like to speak positively about it. It was the Walter Hoving home, and you know, at first I was like, okay, I'll just go to prison because this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to wear dresses. Like, we can't curse. You know, like, we can't listen to secular music. We don't leave. It's a lockdown facility. I was like, this is crazy. But honestly, it's like these other kinds of homes where you're still like in the life, but you're like in recovery. Like, for me, that was the point of, and I haven't been in trouble.
You know what they
since.
say, you can't worship 2 masters, right?
Right. Well, of course not. Yeah. I mean, and you know, you're going to do it. You need to.
It means you can't be in the life and then be in recovery.
Yeah. You know, we weren't allowed to smoke cigarettes, and it's like, you know, you can't be in there worshiping God and then doing that to your body. And the thing is, you know, prison, it just kind of straightened me out, dried me out. But the program, it changed my life. I haven't been in trouble since then. That's what was the turning point for me. Okay. And not only did I do I successfully completed it. They asked me if, you know, potentially I could stay on as a staff member. I did a completers program. I loved the program. I excelled. I did amazing. You know what I mean? Like, being around the girls and seeing, you know, the life and stuff like that. They provided everything. It was a wonderful experience.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2.
Where were your children when you were doing time?
They were with their dad. He remarried when I was locked up to my stepsister, which is kind of weird.
Oh, wow. Keep it in the family. Huh?
Yeah, well, I feel like that was a form of just, you know, to still be in my life, you know what I mean? And so anyway, once, you know, usually I could work with him because he had struggled with addiction before, and before I had gotten myself into trouble, like, these tables were turned, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't leave my son over there because he was falling out and stuff like that. When he had gotten sober, he had gotten married.
And what do you mean?
From whatever, like opiates or whatever that he.
Oh, your ex.
Yeah, like we met each other in a drug environment. We were users together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like I was and he wasn't. And
misery loves company.
But he does like to portray that. You know what I'm saying? Which is funny. So, you know, he used to pay me child support. Like, these tables were opposite. You know what I mean? But I would never, ever, ever, at any point, I would go to his house And even though I knew I couldn't leave my kid there because of his condition, I would stay over there.
So what brought you to family court?
There's been some recent things that I have found out about that I believe are so unbelievably unjust and just insane that can happen in America, in this system, that I absolutely am willing to take any risk to speak about it. Sure. And at this point, I feel like I've done everything in my power to somehow be able to reunite with my children in a positive way. And I feel like it should just be all out in the open and let everybody else decide what they think is right. I just want to tell my story and then let everybody decide if they think that is legal. What's that word called?
Ethical?
Yes, thank you.
All right,
ethical.
to tell us the story.
So I was trying to kind of tell the gentleman over there, there's a lot of like turns and stuff like that. But so, like I said, we back and forth. We both struggled as parents, like obviously.
Right.
But I went to the penitentiary. He got married. He got sober. So then I was, the black sheep or whatnot.
A good woman will do that to you.
What?
Get you sober.
I to this day, I'm pro their relationship, and I never have said an ill word towards her. I thank her. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so grateful to them. Now, I am no longer grateful to them because I know that my children are not safe there anymore. I was under the impression that they were.
Why do you say that?
So I guess I'll get to that in a minute. Let me just tell my story so I stay on task and try not to cry because it's been really overwhelming. When the legal system, the judges, and everybody is just against you and telling you, you're not going to do this, putting up all these impossible things. Somebody who's struggled with, very mental illness or addiction, it's like you want to lift people up. You don't want to lift them down. And eventually you just keep kicking them. And I just stayed down. I just stood down. And something so awful has happened now. It's put the fire in me, and it's actually reunited the fact that I need to fight for my child and be a voice and be.
So tell us what.
So I went to prison. I got out. Obviously that was difficult for me. I anticipated.
Were you on probation while you were out, or you were done?
After you are incarcerated, you're on parole for a certain matter of time, which
How
you
long
get
were
drug
you-
tested.
how long were you on
A
for?
year and some change.
Okay.
Which I got drug tested every month. You know what I mean? You have to work, so you're doing well.
Right.
So I get back into. I thought I would be back. What I went to school for, what I had education for, I could not get back into that field to save my life.
An esthetician.
An esthetician. Yeah. I did a lot of school for it.
Exactly. What do they do? By the way?
They do skincare. They
okay.
do like chemical pills. They do. We do waxing. We do like eyebrow threading. But I did like advanced education, and so I actually could work for a dermatologist. I had a career.
Right.
I thought I would go back into that, and everything would just be like right. They're not. It was it was a scandal. It was on TV. I had trouble finding employment. So now I can't find it at all. I have really no skill. So now I have the children, and my son's a teenager, and he's got some issues with me. My daughter's in heaven, and I'm doing the best I can.
Daughter's in heaven?
Well, she just wants me. You know what I mean? She was just happy. She just, you know what I mean? Like, she don't care. Like,
she just wants you.
That's all she wants. And I'm pretty sure if they don't tell her that I call. They don't tell them that I write letters. They have no idea. These kids have no idea that I want them. They are not told anything. So they just think I'm gone and I've never come back.
That you abandoned them.
There's nothing that they know. So is that really better for the child to sit there and think that their mom just say, listen, she called again, but you can't see her. You know what I mean? At least they don't have to sit there and think I don't call.
They've been terminating rights left and right from parents without having an actual termination hearing.
So these kids think that they have a parent that doesn't want them, when actually if they could watch this right now, they would get to learn that, hey, guess what? This whole time, been calling, been trying, and that would have, in long term, like, this is going to affect their ability to have normal relationships. This is going to affect their ability to function as adults because they thought even if they learn as adults that wasn't the case, they're already messed up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is causing issues that are deep-seated, and they're not allowed to know. Why are they not allowed to know? They should be allowed to know that.
Okay.
So I get out. We have joint custody, and we're trucking along. This is where I felt it just. Nothing was what I thought it would be. I thought I would get back into this career. I thought my son wasn't adapting to me well, and that I didn't have any money. And so I ultimately kind of veered off and started to have issues. Okay.
What kind of issues?
Just not wanting, being late to pick them up or you know what I mean? Like, just being like a mediocre parent and being a crybaby.
You're not
and
in the headspace.
Yeah, just failing them. Right. But once the woman had moved back in with him, because if it would have been him by himself, then I would have been a little bit more concerned. But she never had a drug problem. She seemed to really love them. I think that she's weak in the fact that she knows what's going on.
It's your kid's ex-mom, stepmom. Right?
She's my stepsister, but I don't really know her because I don't really know my dad. Somehow he started to hang out with my father that I don't even know, married his daughter. She had another child from another relationship. And so the fact of the matter is, like, she knows what's going on, but I think she just kind of wants me to get out of the way. But she's not a bad person. So knowing that she was around and he was sober, I thought, okay, at least I know that they are
safe.
They have money. It's like it looked okay.
Right.
If there was any kind of major signs, then that would have been different. So it's almost like I felt like, what's my point? Like, what? So I just kind of I backslid. I backslid. This was before I went. This is just out of prison. This is not doing the recovery home yet.
Right.
And so before I had a chance to even mess it up enough for us to even go to court, I got into trouble again, and I was in jail again.
What'd you do?
Well, allegedly, I sold drugs to an undercover or something. So I'm in there. This was after I completed parole. This was down the road. It wasn't like right away. This was like a year plus after being out.
How much time
I gave it a good.
And this is the last time you've been incarcerated?
No, this was out from the first time when I was incarcerated. Yeah, and so I go back. I think I'm going back to prison a second time. The judge surprises me with this recovery home. So that was the ultimate turning point. And I've been a completely different person since then. And that was so long ago, but nobody cares about that. Yes, I messed up. Yes, I messed up again. But it's been obvious that it's different now.
Well, people just like using your past because they have nothing else to use.
They do. But there's illegal things that are going on here that has nothing to do with my past, that are unethical and that are wrong.
Please explain.
And so I do I do wonderfulness program. I mean, they provide therapy, and the directors and stuff, they're reaching out to Pete, bring the kids so that we can start doing like therapy with the kids and stuff like that. And he's just hell bent on it's not happening. You know what I mean? Like, this is Judge Moss, who is my judge. She was like, well, you need to have therapy. I'm like, that's what I just did for a year. You know what I mean? That's what the home provided.
Did you explain that?
If he would have followed what
Did you explain that to the judge?
I tried to, but she.
What do you mean you?
I was trying to tell her about it, and then in her opinion, that wasn't, I guess, it was it was faith based. So she didn't know how she felt about that being actual beneficial.
Because
I guess
it was faith based.
Right. When actually, that is the one thing that helped.
Did you have
Did
you have an attorney?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No, I did not. So the thing was, the people and this is
did the other side have
parole and probation approved home.
Did your ex have an attorney?
Yes, he did.
Who was his attorney?
His attorney was, I always forget his name, and Warhol. I just think of the guy from the '60s, that like was the painter. They had the same name, Andy Warhol. You don't know who that is?
No.
Okay, Andy Warhol. Do you know who Andy Warhol was? I'm like the youngest person in here. How do I know? He was this super...
What do you mean you're the youngest person?
I mean, he was like a really famous painter in the 60s.
Okay. All right.
You guys really don't know who that is?
No.
He's one of the most famous painters in the world.
Well, hell, you don't know.
But there's a movie about him, like famous people. Anyway, he had like this crazy hair. He was an icon. So Pete's attorneys, they have the same name. I just always remember thinking that in my head.
Okay.
down the road later, I'm trying for the life of me to remember how this was revealed to me or how I found this out. I don't know that. I'm sorry, I can't remember. But there I saw for Judge Moss, and there was like contributors to her campaign. And you have to understand, I don't know about any of this stuff. So this isn't something I would make up because I really don't even know how it works.
Right.
So, and then I had seen his name, and I asked whoever that was if that was the attorney, and then did some research, and it was. And so I'm thinking, so the opposing party's attorney is what, like a contributor or somehow affiliated
Donated
with
to the
her campaign.
Yeah.
So why in the hell, sorry, pardon my French, would she ever side with me? Because then he would stop contributing, right?
Right.
I mean, I know I'm a simple
girl.
girl.
And you have nothing to contribute, right?
Nothing.
So you're already on the losing side.
So why did I even go to court? I just went in there and wasted my time. That's just... And
do you know how much he contributed?
I have no idea. Okay. And I was just pretty flabbergasted about that because I was like, there's no way that's legal. I'm like, did I just like stumble onto something? Okay. I still to this day don't know if it is, but I didn't sass her. I wasn't going to sass her about it.
Did you ask the judge to recuse herself?
No.
Why not?
Because I just wanted her to show mercy. I just wanted...
You know how they show mercy when they finish beating you up?
Whole other ball game now. I thought maybe... as a woman or as a mother I realize now that the heart part is irrelevant.
Judge Moss don't have children of her own.
Well, I don't understand how a person can make a judgment on a child if they don't have personal experience. That's a little strange to me, but...
They're supposed to follow the law, but they don't do a good job.
Well, that didn't happen. Is it legal to take money from... I don't know. I feel like, why would she do that? That would be really... It is legal
to take money from... But it's the judge should have put that on the record and ask you if you wanted her to still remain on the case, which would have been the proper way to do it. But.
Yeah, I mean, it just made me go in there like a fool. I mean, I just felt really.
So I want to hear what happened in your case that brought you here.
Well, the experience in the courtroom with her, every time I've been in there quite a few times. Okay. Is I try to tell her something, she shuts it down, she cuts me off, you know what I mean?
So she violates her constitutional rights.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell her.
It sounds like a normal behavior.
And then all the things that she asked me about. Do you have a job? Yes. Do you have the paychecks? Yes. Do you pay child support? Yes. Do you are you in therapy? Yes. Do you take your bipolar medication? Yes. And I brought my thing. She was just waiting for me to say like no, and I was like yes.
How much do you pay in child support?
I pay $220 $220 and then $20 from arrears. It was
for both children.
Yeah, that was an agreement that me and him had made prior to even going to court.
Okay.
And then so I get summoned to child support court, and they're going to put me in jail because I owe all this back child support. And I tell them, because I paid ever since I've been not incarcerated. I pay every month. I don't miss. And I told her that, and she was like, wait, you were incarcerated? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, so that's why you owe? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, the father didn't tell us that part. I didn't know that it was because of you were incarcerated. She's like, I apologize. We're not actually going to put you in jail now. I didn't know that. If I would have known that it would have been differently. I see that you do pay your payments other than the time you were incarcerated. So she didn't have that information. So she thought I just, for a while, was like, nope, not doing it. My license got taken away, and she apologized, sent a letter that I had to go get my license reinstated. Like I was about to go to jail for 45 days. You know what I mean?
And you'd think they would know that you were incarcerated.
I was like, oh, I guess, am I supposed to tell you guys? And she said, well, the father had a complaint that you owed back child support, but he left that part out.
Well, they have a judiciary obligation to find out.
She was like, "You were."
I mean, all they gotta do is punch your.
Yeah, I was in prison.
All they had to do
is
put your name in a computer. They'll know that you were incarcerated. I mean, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that out.
She honestly, I mean, I believe her when she said that she didn't know. You know what I mean? Like I do believe her. Like. Okay. She was like, I don't remember what her name was, but and then when I went back a year later to make sure, because I still had to go back and make sure that I was doing everything I said, and there was all these fathers and they were getting in trouble left and right. I went in there and she was like, okay, you've done everything that I asked you to do. You paid everything, and my ex was like, she does naked photography, and the judge was like, well, I see that she's paying her child support, so, and he's like, yeah, but she does naked photography, and the judge was like, she's paying her child support. The judge didn't even care. The judge was like, she has a job. Like, So she was kind of okay
He
with it.
probably got off on it, so he started bringing it up.
She was like literally like ignored him, like surpassed what he was like, but that's what she does. And she was like, okay, well, she's paying her child support. That's all I'm here to judge on. That felt like a real judge doing the right thing.
This is not Moss.
This was not Moss.
Okay.
Heck no, that was not Moss.
Who was this?
I can't remember her name.
Sylvia Tootin?
It's a whole other court system, child support court and family court.
Was it Sylvia Tootin at the time?
She had like maybe short, kind of brown hair.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I want you to get to the part that we talked about.
But so what I'm trying to explain to you is that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and then like Judge Moss, she did say at some point, well, I'm going to give Pete temporary full.
Pete is your ex.
Right. I don't know if you say names or something.
Oh, you could say whatever.
Okay, so I want to give him temporary full custody, in hopes that at some point he will allow you to be able to be. And I'm going to leave. He's the gatekeeper. I'm going to leave it up to him. So.
She's leaving it up to the father to allow you for visitation.
Yeah, at some point, like, and he will never let me see them. That's obvious. And stuff
Maybe that's
like
why she left it up to him, knowing what the
that he was never going to do it.
Be.
I mean, she even asked him. She was like, "Can she get a picture?" He was like, "No." She's like, "Can she get a report card?" He was like, "No." She's like, and then she's like,
"Did you have a termination hearing?"
No, I did everything I was supposed to do, and I was still being punished. I thought that I was going to be like, "Look what all I'm doing," and she was going to go, "You should get some pictures and a report card," not. Okay, well, it's up to the dad. I'm like, okay, well, his answer's going to be no.
That's poor judging.
So I just like kind of try to stay on task. So, and now that I think about it, I think she, for a minute there, wanted to like give me a pat on the back, but because her campaign was being funded by a certain person, that's why it felt unnatural. It was just like, I was like, why would a judge, a woman being like that, you know what I mean? It felt like there was something, and I thought maybe she had like a crush on Pete. I didn't even know because it was strange.
I want you to start talking about the abuse.
Okay, so anyway, and she also has been my judge this whole time, so she does remember the time where he paid me child support. He had a drug problem, and the kids were.
This is going
like
back to 2013.
Oh God, way past that. But yeah, so I'm out.
Which your videos are on Veterans in Politics YouTube channel.
Right. They are. And I want people to look at them because I like to see, okay, so her interaction with me in the courtroom felt very like controlled, like it wasn't what she necessarily wanted to say or do or believed. It was something was underlining it and defining it. She was shutting me down and I was like, why would she not want to hear what I'm saying? And now I do believe that was financially
motivated.
Correct.
Okay.
Now that I'm just like, I'm so stupid. I just want to see my kids. I'm literally like throwing myself at the mercy of the court. I just want to see them.
Don't ever do that.
It was never going to happen because of this. So I know that now.
You never throw yourself at the mercy of the court.
I would do anything. I just wanted something. So I go to the program. I do the program successfully. It's good. I get out. I complete my parole with honors. I'm doing really good. This time I'm doing really good. I'm working at a spa managing. I'm still not. He won't let me see the kids. He will not at all. So when we were in court, she tells me, you need to do reunification therapy. Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. So she's like, well, there's these three therapists that I know, and they're really, really good, and you can only see those three, and they.
Because she probably gets a kickback.
And I was like, oh, she's like, and they cost, I don't know, maybe like $3,000 a month, like $200-300 a session, and I'm like, on top of I'm just out of prison. I pay child support. I make $9 an hour, and I'm supposed to come up with $3,000 for reunification therapy. That's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
I want to know why judges don't let people use their insurance.
Here's the kicker. My insurance covered it. Mm-hmm. I found multiple reunification therapies that were covered on my insurance that were reputable, that were amazing, and I got it. Somehow I talked to the lady in her chambers, which I heard was maybe not legal either, to ask her, Judge Moss, could you please allow me to use the therapist through my insurance? Nope. And then like a week later,
to Judge Moss in her chambers?
I didn't talk to her. I talked to her, her girl.
Her JEA.
I said I got in touch with, and I asked if she would, and she said, I'll talk to Judge Moss and I'll let you know what she decides. Which we weren't in a courtroom, But her decision was that it had to be one of those 3 people that cost $3,000 a month.
You should have filed some type of paperwork request and the court will go.
As you have to understand, I'm getting broken down little by little. The fight inside of me is the fire is going out. And plus, I was under the impression my children were safe. That's the difference too. Lo and behold, come to find out, her possibly and him for sure all knew they weren't safe. And I'll get to that right now. So she wants the reunification therapy is $3,000 a month. Are you kidding me? I'm never gonna ever be able to come up with that. I mean, it's like, what do you want me to do here? So, I mean, doing the erotic pictures or whatever, I have a better chance of coming up with that. But not, you want me to just, but then you want to complain, you want me to have a legitimate job where I'm working in a spa. I can't work how I messed that up for myself. But I mean, okay, you want me to come up with that? Let me do nude photography. Like, anyway, that's kind of silly or whatever, but it was something to survive. So that was, so she tells me that I have to do that, and then in the meantime, I get no updates. He's got temporary full custody, okay? I've never hurt them, I've never put them in danger, I've never abandoned them. They've never been in any kind of danger with me. Can I get supervised visits?
So you never had CPS called on you or anything?
No, never. There's never been an issue. I'm like, so why can't I have family members, like I can't even have supervised? I've done nothing to where I shouldn't be able to have supervised. So I don't get to see them at all because I had a drug problem. That doesn't really make any sense. I mean, I'm pretty sure my kids want to see me, you know what I mean? So that goes on for a while, and then, a year or two, I mean, multiple years are going by. He's not working with me. He's not going to let me see them. I call, he won't return my calls.
So how long have you not seen your children?
I mean, this is the part that's hard for me. I mean, it's been like, I don't even know, like 5 or 6 years.
You haven't seen none of your kids in 6 years.
So
what did you find out when you got out of prison?
So now I've never gone to prison again. I've never been back to prison. I did a recovery program that I completed. I completed parole, and since then there's been I've had no legal trouble.
There are people in prison that gets rights to see their kids.
Murderers. I know, exactly. And she knows me from before. I was their predominant caretaker mother. Like doesn't she remember when this was flipped? Mm-hmm. She knows I have it in me to do this. So, but like I said, money. It had to be something. There was something up. So now, I'm doing well, stuff like that. All these years are going by. He's not letting me. He won't return my calls. I got no updates. So. And I've never turned back to that lifestyle, but I'm just here, just waiting to see some kids. So
mentally, it's driving you crazy.
I'm in depression. You know what I mean? Like I'm never gonna see them, and then I go and see attorneys and stuff like that, and they're all telling me, listen, at this point, you're gonna have to wait till they're adults. That's just the way it's gonna be. And meanwhile, we're in limbo with this temporary full custody that he has. He makes every decision. Years are going by. I'm paying my child support. I've never been in any trouble. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just what he thinks I'm doing, what he thinks I'm doing.
Did you have a termination here?
No. So we're still, as of right now, temporary. And I was never informed that I guess after 3 years, you can have it modified and reevaluated. Nobody told me that. I would have already attempted to do that. So I'm just like, whatever, it's up to him, and he's never gonna let me see them. So I'm just living my life, whatever, still paying my child support, no updates, nothing. Anyway, so I found out recently that his brother has been actually in prison for the last 3 or 4 years, and I just found this out. And I was like, because I know nothing about what's going on. Pete only talks to me, he doesn't tell me nothing. So I just called to just talk to him, which he loves. He loves that part. He just gets to talk to me, but I don't get to ask about the kids because I don't get to know. I can't see them. I'll get arrested if I go to their school or anything like that. Why? I don't know.
There's a restraining order?
It's not a restraining order. She just said I have no contact. I'm not allowed to contact them in any way, shape, or form.
That is a restraining order.
I'm not served with anything. It wasn't part of a restraining order. It was her judgment that I'm not to. It's up to the father, and he says nothing. Mm-hmm. For years, it's been going on. So I have this gut-wrenching feeling inside of me because his brother has been their babysitter for a long time. His brother used to live with us back when we lived on the East Coast, and I always told him his brother has had addiction, all kinds of issues. I never liked him to be, living with us. I most certainly would never have agreed for him to be small children's babysitter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's not exactly qualified. And so I just had this weird feeling. So I'm looking him up, so I find out he's in there for lewdness with a child under the age of 14. I'm like, wait, what? Because I know he's lived with him. He always lives with him. He's always lived there.
With a minor.
Yes. So I'm thinking, first thing I think is, who is this minor? This person under 14? And then, because I thought maybe it was like one of his girlfriends or something like that. And then I was like, wait a minute. I hope none of my children are. They're related. So I was like, there's no, men, like, or whatever, like, I know they can kind of get dirtbally, but there's no way because that would be his niece and nephew. So I'm like, I can't wrap my brain around that. Like, maybe she was 16, like, it was one of those, like, 16. So I try to dig into it. I can't find out any information. It's all confidential. You know what I mean? Even though, at this time currently, when this incident occurred, I had joint custody. Judge Moss had not done the whole temporary full custody thing. At that moment in time, when the abuse took place, I had joint custody. I had rights to know if something happened to my child. Nobody told me. Okay. So I dig into it. I find out, he's in there from abuse that had happened, 2 or 3 years prior. So this happened, I guess, in like 2000 and it happened in 2015 when I was in the program, where there was therapy that could have been provided, where they were telling to bring the child in, and it happened when I was sober, when I was capable, when I was in a program, and when I still had joint custody. This is what happened. I don't know the legality of me talking about this, but I don't really care. So the child that my ex-husband's brother, the child was my daughter. She was 8. Oh wow. 8. So this happened 4 years ago.
Your brother molested you.
Not my brother.
Your ex-husband.
My ex-husband, who has full that Judge Moss gave full custody to put them in a safe spot. That was what happened. She decided that it was in their best, that it's safe and best for them to completely be with him. When being with him, well, at first I thought, she was very mistaken because that's what happened. But then I just found out recently that this happened before she even made that determination.
So did you bring this back to the court's attention?
I just found this out 2 weeks ago.
Did you bring this back to the court's attention?
I haven't. I am in the process right now. I'm getting all my paperwork together. I have a lot of now I have advocates coming out for me that I couldn't afford before that actually want to help because now a child got hurt in this. So now it's a little bit different. My other family members, I asked everybody, was this one of my children? And they said no. They said no. It wasn't your child, it was somebody else. It was your because now here we go. So now leading it up to just a few weeks ago, the dad, he's like texting me and calling me like all inappropriate, you know what I mean? He's been doing this for years and stuff like that. I never really told his wife because honestly, I don't want to break up their marriage because I feel like if she left him, my kids would not be in a good situation, because she's their caretaker. And so, and it's just stupid and stuff. And he's like asking me about like drugs and like he wants to meet up and stuff like that. And so I was just like, you need to let me have some contact with my kids. And he was like, oh, I tried. I even went to he's bullshitting me, right? So I just told his wife, I'm like, and I sent her the screenshots. I'm like, this is what Pete does behind your back. He keeps trying to, start something with me and he's supposed to be squeaky clean and he's over here trying to cheat and get drugs, like all this stuff. I'm like, I don't even live that way anymore. Mm-hmm. And so then I get served with a restraining order, because he wants me to stop blasting his dirt or whatever. So I get this restraining order, which I have right here, I brought, and I'm reading it and stuff, and it's like, I don't know how he got a temporary restraining order against me. So now I'm not allowed to, I can't even contact him, not even to ask about the kids. Now I have no contact. So I'm reading it, I'm really upset, but I know that it's gonna get dropped because I've never threatened him, there's no, so you have to have some form of like threat of domestic violence. So this is everybody can get a temporary.
Did you go to court for that?
No, we go in a few days. This is the thing. Every American citizen can get a temporary. Everybody's allowed to. You don't even have to show proof, but it will get thrown out because there's no proof, which I knew because he doesn't have proof. But this is when I'm reading it, and in the area confidential, he made a blooper, and he actually marked the wrong box and put it in the not confidential one, and it asks him if he has ever been arrested or for domestic violence, and he says he was when he found out about his brother sexually assaulting his daughter. And he says in here, please don't reveal this information to Keaton, for we have not let her know about this yet. 4 years ago this happened. 4 years ago.
Don't they have an obligation to let the mom know?
Especially because at that time I had joint custody. Nobody told me. The police didn't tell me. The court system didn't tell me. None of my family members that he's now married into told me. The father didn't tell me. The school didn't tell me. Nobody notified me. And I got a hold of DCF. I sent them a letter that I thought maybe it was my daughter. They never returned my message. I don't know if they checked on. I said, and I had joint custody, and nobody will tell me what's happening with my own child that I had full rights to. But now he kept this a secret. Everybody kept this a secret from me. So now we go in front when we went in front of the judge, and she made her ruling. He at that time literally was sitting on the secret that Taylor. I didn't want to say her name just so that dang it. Can you edit that out or?
This is live.
Dang it. That had happened to her. Now, as for Judge Moss, okay, I mean, she made all these obstacles impossible and things like that for money or whatever. But here's the thing that I am upset about and I want to know is back in the, he obviously knew that this happened. His brother's in prison. He's in prison for this. He's doing 5 or 6 years for this. So I'm pretty sure it's probably pretty extensive. Now, when her and him are back and forth and you're watching them too, and they're talking about all my faults and how the kids are not best with me and how I have all these problems. So if he knew, well, obviously he knew he was holding this from me, the fact that Taylor got hurt. But what I want to know is, did she also know that? Because she made her ruling based on in the best interest of the children. So if she didn't know, then okay. Then she didn't know. He tricked her. He completely
should have asked for an emergency hearing.
I just found this out literally a week and a half ago. It's been Christmas. I got the paperwork. I'm down. We can go right now.
File.
Let's go right now. To find out that happened to my daughter and that nobody told me, and that he went and he had the audacity to go in front of a judge and to be given full. She wouldn't, I feel as though if she knew that our daughter had been molested by his brother who had been living in that house, who had all kinds of background and problems and he shouldn't have been there anyway, that doesn't obviously make good judgments as a parent. The child is not, maybe they should have been with me half the time. They should have, you know what I mean? So the thing is if he tricked her, you know what I mean? She should be pretty pissed off that she got tricked like that. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure if she would have known that happened to my daughter, she probably wouldn't have given him temporary full custody. She wouldn't have. Of course she wouldn't have. She would have been like, yeah, I don't know if they're so safe there either. I would have rather them been with one of our parents, grandparents, anywhere than that. Because that's what her judgment was, that they should be with him. And in that, my child got molested by his brother.
Well, what I would do,
great judgment, fantastic.
What I would do if I was you, I'll file for an emergency hearing, and I'll put that entire restraining order as an exhibit.
He withheld it from me, but did he withhold it from her? But maybe she knew.
Does he have legal rights over you, or did you lose your legal rights to your children?
Or
you just lost?
It's
custody?
temporary. It's temporary.
Well, 6 years is not temporary.
I didn't know that I was allowed to get another court date. I thought we were still waiting for it. It was up to him.
6 months. I don't even think 6 months is temporary.
This was in 2013 or something.
Are you going to file a judicial?
So this restraining order thing. This is how I found out about my daughter. Had I have not gotten a fake restraining order on me, I to this day would not even know what happened to my daughter. I can't hold her. I can't talk to her. I can't see her. I can't be an advocate for her.
Are you going to file a complaint against the judge for violating your constitutional rights?
Absolutely, I am.
Have you done that
There's
yet?
nothing else that can be stripped from me here. I've been humiliated.
Have you done that yet?
No, literally I found out a few days before Christmas. It's been Christmas. I'm here. I'm doing everything that I can. I'm unstable with what I just found out.
Okay.
But it's put a fire under me because the thing is now I know that my children are not safe where they're at.
Right.
So something needs to be done. I guess I took a back seat sometimes because I was under the impression that they were okay there. Now that I know that they are not, now it's a different ball game. To know that for 4 years that my daughter has never even had the option, I didn't even know.
Well, we sorry this took place and happened to your daughter. Jim, do you have anything for Keaton? Jim?
No, I'm good.
Judge Moss needs to really try to maybe think about really listening when people are trying to talk to her and tell her stuff in court instead of just cutting them off. Because if so, I sat there and was trying to tell her that I'm a victim of sexual abuse myself. And now I have to find out that this happened to my daughter. And it's just, if she was paying attention, then she would see that I had concerns about that anyway, and that she doesn't listen, and she wants everything to be all legality and stuff like that. Everything she wanted me to have done, I did. I'm like done. Not one thing. In that's where she should have said, okay, well, I have like a really important point that I would like to say, just really quick. So these are a couple of my points. It said the judge said on the video that she gave him the temporary full custody to work because she wanted him to work on the goal of me being able to see the kids. That's what she said. She said that's why she did it.
Right.
And he has in all these years never opened up a door for that. So she was wrong there, and nothing's done of it. Okay, I did some looking into the law. The law says that granting full temporary is the purpose of it is for the other parent to come up with a solution for co-parenting. He was sitting there telling her, I'm not going to he was basically telling her, I'm going to shut everything down. So if it says the law is you're supposed to give it to the parent that is an advocate for the co-parenting, she couldn't see clear as day that he was not open for that. That's the judgment is supposed to be based off that. She didn't do her judgment based off that.
Most family court judges don't follow the law.
Well, that's okay. Then that's fantastic. So we live in a lawless country. I don't know. So the motion to modify custody. Okay, this is why this has got to happen. Okay, there is a change in circumstances, big time. Somebody got hurt, big time. They are no longer in the best interest of the children. My child was abused. Okay, and there's a program called Donna's House Supervisions. Why wasn't anybody telling me about that?
That's crap, but I guess.
Well, something, okay. The children were not asked if they wanted to see me. They were of age. Nobody even asked them.
You have to pay, I think it's $15 an hour for Donna's House, something like that.
Okay, well, it's better than reunification therapy that I can never afford. And at this point now, we need so much reunification. You know what I mean? She just she's like, okay, you want to shut the gap of how much time since I've seen them. Listen, lady, you just added 6 years to the gap, okay? Fantastic.
All that stuff you're bringing up, you need to put that pen to paper and file it with the courts.
Oh, I plan to. But if she would have asked my daughter or even my son, like, do you want to see your mom? They both would have said yes. How come they didn't get to say anything? Okay, the custody determination, the judge picks the parent most likely to make the other parent that wants the other parent to see the child. He's sitting there telling her, in my opinion, I don't think she should ever see her kids again. So she did the wrong grant. That's what she was not supposed to do that. That should have been the little red flag where she said, oh, I can't give you the full custody because you're not doing what your goal isn't the co-parenting, because that's why they do that, for that goal. So, I'm the free, the pro bono to help with, and stuff like that. I do believe that since a child was hurt, I feel like that maybe I can get a little bit more help, because it's the expense. Talk about giving them the money. Also, if you don't have the money, then you really don't have a leg to stand on. My son also, I had to escape my ex. He has a track record of violence. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't even want to hear me when I was trying to tell her. he had kidnapped him when he was little and took him back to Connecticut. Like, they're not in the, like, she'd shut it down. I was trying to tell her some things that maybe she could have made a different judgment. Shut it down. I didn't know about the custody reevaluation in 3 years. And I just have one more little note thing. I want to brief about CPS. I had a feeling about this. I wanted to know about this. I sent them all the documentation showing that I had joint custody, and I wanted to know if the child that was hurt was my child. And they didn't respond to me. They didn't get back to me or nothing. So, I even said, send somebody over there to make sure that everything's okay. They didn't. Nobody did. Okay. And I emailed them and everything. They never checked back. They never contacted me back. I'm giving you information about a child being hurt, and you're not even going to contact me back and ask me the address? I thought that DCF was supposed to look into these things. You know what I mean? I made a report.
Ask for the location of the child?
Luckily I sent it myself. I just kept sending them emails with information because they weren't responding to me. Why are you not responding to a complaint of a child being hurt? Does nobody care? And so I just want to say that, and this is a fact, okay, that this happened to my child before Pete was given temporary full custody. This happened when we had joint custody, that this happened to my child, okay? And it was withheld from me, and it happened multiple years before this. Okay,
But in all fairness, you haven't filed anything with the courts, so technically they don't know. You have to file it with the
I'm
court.
Going to. I just found this out,
and you usually, well, I can't put yourself in my shoes, but if that was me, I wouldn't wait a week and a half.
Honestly, I got all the papers and stuff together.
I would have filed something that very day I found out. You understand what I'm saying to you?
You have to understand that I couldn't get out of bed for the first, just hearing this, because I couldn't go to her, and right away I felt responsible.
Then I would file it while I'm in bed with my laptop.
I didn't want to I was in a point right when I found this out that I was a little concerned about what I could do or what's going to happen or who, it was like I had to take a moment because it could have gotten, my mental state was.
I am
doing something. You know what I mean? I'm in process.
Change of circumstances from the NRS code. And plus, if you need to put that in your emergency hearing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's called an emergency
this
for a reason.
This is happening as we're speaking. This is all transpiring, and I'm doing everything I can, and I'm trying not to lose my being sober. I'm trying not to lose my strength, and fall apart, or do something illegal, I'm just kidding, joke. But I'm saying, you know what I mean? I'm going through a lot of emotions right now, and I'm like a robot, and the whole purpose of me is that I'm here to speak for my daughter, and I'm here to represent people. And if you people are listening, there's so much wrong with all of this, you know what I mean? And I don't care what happens to me, but I want to speak for her, and I want people to see, and even if somebody, a judge or something, sees this and can be like, oh geez, look at what can they do to improve it? Whatever, use me to improve yourself. Don't let this happen again, please.
All right, Keaton, we're running out of time, but
sorry.
I want to thank you.
Crazy.
I want to thank you for coming on the program, but I want you to look in the camera and just say whatever you want. Talk to the people.
I just want to say that I didn't really know much about any of this stuff. I didn't realize that there was so much scandal and underground stuff going. I had no idea that things ran that way. I really was stupid because I had no idea, and I'm in the thick of it right now, and I want people to hear my story, and I want something to be done of this, and I want my daughter to know that I'm fighting for you in every way that I can, with everything I have. So if you ever do hear this, know that I will fight to the death to make sure that you are heard and that you are safe.
Well, again, thank you for coming on the program, and sorry this happened to your child, or it shouldn't happen to any child for that matter.
It could have been prevented.
And just for the record, Judge Moss will be off the bench in probably about a week.
And she'll probably
But that
be at my
doesn't.
house coming
But
after
that
me.
doesn't mean you should not file a complaint.
I'm going to file it with
You
everything
need to
I have.
file it while she's still a judge.
I
Okay?
want her to know that this happened. I would like to go to court and tell her, hey, remember the best interest of the children that you thought? Well, it didn't work out that way.
And when you file that emergency hearing, you're probably going to be before Sonny Bailey, who's going to be taking over.
I did some research on her, and it looks like she, like she's a mother, and I would just hope that as a mother, maybe she could at least have some kind of insight. And you can't ever get a new judge. Why are you not allowed to have a new judge?
All right, Ms. Peterson, thank you so much for coming on the show. Folks, that's Keaton Peterson. She was discussing her times in family court with Judge Cheryl Moss. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas for Veterans in Politics, and we want to wish everybody a happy new year and a prosperous 2021. And stand up for your rights. Don't let them ever take that away from you. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas. Thank you very much.